I'm Anna, a 33-year-old homemaker. My husband, Leo, and I have been married for 4 years. But we haven't been able to have a child yet. We're undergoing fertility treatments, but conceiving has proven difficult. One day, as I was returning from the grocery store, I noticed a little girl, a complete stranger, squatting in front of my house. I wondered why she was outside in the cold winter weather without a coat, so I approached her and asked, "Are you waiting for someone? Can you tell me your name?" "Abigail." "Abigail, okay. Where's your mother?" "Mommy went somewhere," she replied. "Are you lost? What's your mother's name?" "Audrey." "Audrey." My heart sank. Audrey, the sender of the letter, was my older sister. She had left home at 20 and never returned. It's been nearly 17 years since we last saw her. As a teenager, she often ran away, got into trouble with men, and caused financial and emotional strain. Now, to find out she had a child. Abigail handed me a piece of paper. My hands shook as I opened it. Inside were the words, "Take care of this child for a while." "No way," I whispered. "Are you Audrey's daughter?" "Mommy said to stay here because you're her sister," Abigail explained. I took her hand and let her inside. She was freezing and trembling. I wondered how long she'd been outside. Audrey had always been an irresponsible sister, but leaving her child like this was shocking. I'd always wanted a child but couldn't have one. Pushing aside my feelings, I turned on the stove and wrapped Abigail in a warm blanket. "Abigail, are you hungry?" "Yes, I haven't eaten anything since yesterday." "You haven't eaten?" My concern deepened. "I'll get you some food right away." I heated up some pumpkin soup for her. "Yesterday, I made some pumpkin soup," I said as I gave it to Abigail. It was her first time trying it, and she eagerly drank a lot, clearly enjoying the taste. "This is delicious." "It's really good," she exclaimed with a big smile. I was delighted to see her enjoy the soup so much, but it also saddened me as I wondered what kind of meal she was used to. Instead of questioning her about her usual diet, I focused on cooking more food for her to enjoy. I made fried chicken, an omelette, and rice, and she devoured everything, praising each dish as delicious and tasty. Once she seemed completely satisfied, I suggested we take a bath. It seemed she hadn't bathed in a few days, and her hair was greasy. "Abigail, how about a bath?" I asked. Her expression tensed for a moment, and I could tell she wasn't entirely comfortable with the idea. "You don't like baths?" I asked. "No, it's fine," she replied hesitantly. I hurried to the bedroom to find some smaller clothes for her to wear as pajamas. When I returned to the living room, Abigail was gone. Hearing water running in the kitchen, I peeked in and found her trying to wash her hair in the kitchen sink. "What are you doing? The water is so cold," I exclaimed. Abigail apologized, but I assured her she didn't need to. I wrapped her in a blanket and took her to the bathroom. She seemed amazed as I let her inside. "This is just like the house I saw on TV," she exclaimed. From her reaction, it seemed the house where Abigail lived did not have a proper bathroom. It broke my heart to think that Audrey made her wash in cold tap water from the kitchen to save on gas money. Holding back tears, I undressed Abigail and gently placed her in the warm bathtub. "It's so warm." "Are baths always this warm?" she asked, eyes wide with wonder. "Yes, they are. From now on, you can take a warm bath every day." I said, "Really?" "I'm so happy," she replied with a big smile. I helped Abigail warm up and get clean in the bath. Her hair was slightly tangled, but I treated it to make it more manageable, and she soon looked like herself again. After dressing her in my loungewear, we relaxed on the couch in the living room as we waited for Leo to come home. When Leo walked in, Abigail seemed startled and drew back in fear. "I'm home," he called out. "Welcome back," I replied. "This is the girl I told you about." "Hello," Leo greeted, but Abigail continued to shy away. "It's okay," I reassured her. "This is my husband, Leo. He's very kind, so you don't need to be afraid of him." I explained the situation to Leo, and he was visibly upset. "That's unforgivable. We'll keep her here for a while," he declared. "Of course," I agreed. How could she abandon her own child? Once Leo and I had discussed the situation, we went back to Abigail, who was curled up in the living room. I spoke gently to her. "Abigail, as I mentioned, this is my husband, Leo." "Hi, Abigail, please call me Uncle Leo," he added. Abigail nodded timidly. I went on to explain, "The three of us will be living together here for a while. Is that okay with you? Is it really okay for me to stay here?" Abigail asked hesitantly. "Of course," I said with a reassuring smile. "And once we get settled, you'll be able to go to elementary school." "I've never been to school," Abigail said quietly. "You've never been to school? What about kindergarten?" "I haven't gone to kindergarten because I'm no one," Abigail mumbled. My heart ached hearing her words. She was too young to understand why she might feel this way. I decided not to press her further that day and let her rest. Instead, the next day, we would find a way to help her adjust to her new life. I informed my parents about Abigail's situation, and they rushed over to see us. Upon meeting Abigail, they introduced themselves as her grandparents, Grandma and Grandpa, and enveloped her in a comforting hug. Abigail seemed puzzled but happy, as if she had never realized she had grandparents before. After entrusting Abigail to my parents' care, I headed to City Hall to obtain Audrey's family records. To my surprise, Audrey was unmarried, and there was no record of any children. It appeared that Abigail's birth had never been officially registered, making her essentially a non-existent child who never received any formal notices, such as enrollment for elementary school. This revelation shed light on why Abigail referred to herself as no one. After consulting with various authorities, including the Child Consultation Center and the municipal office, we finally managed to establish Abigail's family register. I happily informed her, "Abigail, now you can go to elementary school. I'm so happy for you." By this time, it had been over a month since Abigail came to live with us, but she hadn't opened up much. She always seemed skittish, especially whenever Leo or I moved. Additionally, whenever she made a mistake, she would apologize excessively, curling up her body and covering her head. It was evident that Audrey's past actions had left a lasting impact on her. "Abigail, you don't have to apologize so much," I reassured her. "Uncle Leo and I will never get mad at you, and we will never harm you. I promise." "Really?" Abigail asked with a glimmer of hope. "Of course." I replied sincerely, I made a promise. But despite that, Abigail's shyness persisted. However, as time passed, she gradually became more talkative and even began to smile more often. Then one day, Abigail blurted out, "I wonder when she will come for me." Those words struck a chord with me, evoking a sense of sadness. Despite Audrey's mistreatment, Abigail still longed for her mother. Since Abigail's arrival, every day had been filled with joy for me. We had wanted children so badly and treated Abigail as our own daughter. We hoped she would stay with us for a long time. The day after Abigail's statement, she received an invitation to elementary school. I was relieved that she would finally experience the same school life as other children. "Now that it's settled, we need to prepare for school," I said to Abigail. "We'll need to buy a school bag, stationery, and lots of clothes. Let's go shopping today for new clothes and stuff." "I can get new clothes." I've already got some, Abigail replied. It's not enough. You'll need more comfortable clothes for school, I insisted. So, Abigail, Leo, and I went to the shopping mall and got everything she needed for school. I was so excited about preparing for her school entrance that I ended up buying a lot of clothes and stationery. As we headed home, the three of us laughed and joked about buying too many things. However, to my surprise, I saw Audrey standing in front of our house. "Mom!" Selena exclaimed. Audrey responded coldly, "It's not, welcome home. What were you thinking? How dare you come here?" I stepped in, trying to calm the situation. Hey, calm down. Don't yell. It's not productive. First, you need to apologize to Abigail. But Audrey only glanced at Abigail and refused to make eye contact. "What are you trying to do?" I asked. "We can't just stand here talking. Let me in the house." "I'll do it, even if you don't tell me." "Let me go, Abigail," Audrey said, ignoring my question. I decided to let Audrey in and ask her what was going on. "Is this your husband?" she asked, pointing at Leo. "He's a nice guy." "Nice to meet you." "I'm Leo," he replied. "I don't know how to say this, given it's our first meeting, but the way you've treated your child makes you an unfit parent," Leo stated boldly. Audrey seemed taken aback by Leo's boldness. "You're too arrogant, my brother-in-law. You can't talk to me like that. You don't know me." "Maybe not, but I do know you didn't take care of her properly. How could you neglect your own child?" Leo countered. Audrey, clearly irritated by our accusations, seemed unable to grasp the gravity of her actions. I was perplexed by her lack of accountability. I asked Abigail how she felt about seeing her mother, and it was clear she was still scared. She couldn't look Audrey in the eye and recoiled in fear. Initially, I assumed Selena missed her mother, but now I wasn't so sure. As I was contemplating this, Audrey spoke up. "You two don't have kids, right?" she asked. "No, but so what?" I responded. "Well, I'm going to leave this child with you," she declared. "I've raised her through the toughest stages of her life. You should be grateful to have an older kid." Now Leo was incredulous. "Do you even know what you're saying? You're abandoning your own child as though she's an object to be handed off." "I know exactly what I'm saying," Audrey shot back. "I'm giving you Shavos people a kid to raise. You should be thankful." I shook my head in disbelief. "That's outrageous. We're not giving her back to you, even if you ask. We've already made her a family register, and she's going to start elementary school next month. We'll make sure she's happier than she was with you." "Oh, so you've made a family register for her," Audrey retorted, seemingly indifferent. "I did," I responded. "Why didn't you file a birth certificate?" Audrey questioned. "Because if I had, they would know I have a child. I didn't want to disrupt my life for such a selfish reason." Audrey's admission explained why Abigail had been unable to attend kindergarten or elementary school. Her callous attitude continued to baffle me. "That's not right. Abigail deserves an education. What you've done is neglect, not just active truancy," I told her, knowing that reasoning with Audrey was pointless. Audrey had apparently broken up with Abigail's father before Abigail was born and had never registered the birth. To date, other men, she often left Abigail alone, pretending to be unmarried and childless. Her goal was to find a new partner and raise her child. "We'll take care of Abigail," I said, firm in my decision. "But please don't come back to see us again. Then give me 10 million yen. I'm giving you a person, so 10 million is a small price to pay, right?" Audrey demanded. "What are you talking about? You're trying to sell your daughter." I was horrified. Of course, I'm not going to pay you, though. Abigail is a human being, I said firmly. When I refused to pay, Audrey threatened to take Abigail back and confine her at home, forcing her to wash with cold tap water again. I won't let you do that, I said. Fine, 10 million then, she retorted. Well, I can't get it for you today. You'll have to come back later to pick it up. I'll keep Abigail here until then, I said, pretending to agree to her demands to keep Abigail safe. Whatever. I don't want to be bothered with her anyway, Audrey replied dismissively. Though I had no intention of paying Audrey, I lied quickly to prevent her from taking Abigail away. Knowing Audrey might return to reclaim her, Leo and I considered what steps we could take next. But before acting, we wanted to understand how Abigail felt. Abigail, do you want to go back to your mommy? I asked her gently. I don't want to go back. Mom scares me. She always bumps into me and says mean things. I don't want to go back, Abigail confessed. I see, I said gently. The other day, you mentioned wondering when your mother would come for you. Was that because you were afraid she'd make you leave us? Yes, Abigail replied, her eyes downcast. I was worried that if Mommy came, I'd have to go back to that house. But I want to stay here forever. I understand, I reassured her. We'll do everything we can to make sure you can stay with us from now on. With Abigail's feelings clear, Leo and I decided to investigate Audrey's background further. We contacted an investigative firm known to Leo and discovered Audrey was now engaged to a successful lawyer. We formulated a plan to keep Audrey from taking Abigail away and worked discreetly to prepare everything. A week later, when everything was set, we informed Audrey that we had the money and invited her to our home for the exchange. During the meeting, I had my parents care for Abigail. When Audrey arrived, she immediately asked if I had the money. I won't give you the money, and I won't give you Abigail either, I declared firmly. Audrey's expression turned sour. I came all the way here because you said you had the money ready. Now give it to me. Do you realize how heartbroken Abigail is? She challenged. You're trying to sell your own child for money. Unbelievable. Leo exclaimed. How I raise my child is none of your business, Audrey shot back. Children grow up just fine on their own. You don't understand because you don't have kids. Did you even tell your boyfriend about having a child? I asked pointedly. Of course not. He's a successful lawyer, and we're getting married next year. We plan to live happily ever after. Don't bother us, Audrey said dismissively. Just then, the door opened, and Audrey's fiancé, the elite lawyer, walked in. He had heard our conversation. Don't tell me what you just said is true, he said, shocked. Did you lie to me? What's going on? Why are you here? You told me you were unmarried and childless. I've never been married, Audrey said. I just happened to have a child by mistake. By mistake. That's a terrible thing to say. Leo exclaimed, disgusted. The lawyer confronted Audrey. I was about to marry you without knowing you cheated on me. Of course, I'm breaking off the engagement. You lied to me, so you'll need to pay me alimony. Wait, broken engagement alimony? Please don't leave me, Audrey pleaded. Shut up. I can't marry a woman who treats her child like that. I don't even want to see your face, the lawyer replied, turning his back on her. Audrey turned to me, her eyes filled with anger. Rachel, you brought him here. Why did you do this to me? Because I knew I couldn't handle it the usual way. I'm going to discuss Abigail's case with this lawyer, I explained. I was suspicious, but after hearing your words today, I realized the truth. From now on, this lawyer will represent me and my family. You'll regret making an enemy of a lawyer, Audrey threatened. Soon after, a police officer arrived at our house. I had previously reported Audrey for child abandonment, and authorities had secretly recorded our previous conversation. I also informed them of her visit that day. Audrey was taken into custody for child neglect and abandonment, facing a stint behind bars. Although it was a lengthy and complex process, Abigail was eventually allowed to stay with us permanently. The lawyer demanded compensation from Audrey for breaking the engagement, and she faced legal consequences after her release from prison. Audrey lost both her fiancé and Abigail. Additionally, she had to work hard to pay the alimony and child support, which took a toll on her appearance and ability to attract men. Recently, she stormed into our house, crying and demanding Abigail back. "She's my baby. Give her back," she pleaded. "What are you talking about? Abigail is ours now. I won't let you take her back," I told Audrey firmly. "No, not Mommy. Uncle and Auntie are Mommy and Daddy," Abigail chimed in. Rejected by her own daughter, Audrey walked away in despair. I vowed never to let her regain custody of Abigail. Audrey would have to reflect on her actions alone. Meanwhile, Leo and I have stopped our painful infertility treatments. The three of us now live our days filled with laughter and joy. I'm grateful for the happiness Abigail has brought into our lives, and I hope to spend the rest of my life giving her all the love I can.